what was your point in traveling to El Salvador? Senator Van Hollen had just been there.
So to me, there is nothing more American than due process and the rule of law. The fact that Donald Trump is defying a 9-0 Supreme Court order that has said very clearly that the United States government must facilitate the return of 𝗄𝗪 is extremely, extremely important. And the fact that the president continues to defy that Supreme Court order. To me, this is also a bipartisan issue. We have had a conservative-leaning Supreme Court say that he must be returned, a Reagan-appointed judge say that this should be shocking to every American, and also Joe Rogan, who has said that due process is one of the foundations of our freedom. So I want to make sure that—
Dude, she pulled out the Joe Rogan, bro. Dude, look at you. See Laura over here just sort of like, she's silently seething. But that is a really good point, though. Everything that this rep pulled out, right? What the rep said, because, dude, 9-0. That's 3 of Trump's judges, 5 conservative judges. 9-0 was like, due process. These are not like crazy liberal fucking leftist. Yeah, I can't even remember the last time there was a 9-0. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we talking about? It's like everybody, because it's about the due process. That's it, right? That's it. You know? 9-0.
That the president abides by the law and actually follows the law.
So you, just so I understand, so I understand your position, but you went to El Salvador because of Joe Rogan, and you think that your trip to El Salvador would somehow deliver due process? And what you think is due process for Mr. Abrego Garcia?
I believe that the president needs to follow the law in this case, and so far he has not done so.
Yeah.
If I could speak,
Congresswoman. Yeah.
Unfortunately, when the president is not following the law, it's very important for members of Congress.
Yeah.
Dude.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
I think that
we're talking over each other. Let me just ask a question, then you can answer. Okay. Let me ask a question, then you can answer. Sorry, it's annoying for the viewers. So again, you traveled to all the way to El Salvador. And there are obviously huge problems in Arizona right now. There's huge problems still with dealing with smuggling of drugs and
she's doing it on purpose.
All the carnage that left behind. But you went to El Salvador to basically make a political point. I mean, Van Hollen had just been there and just checked on the individual in question, and he was okay. You would admit that he was okay, correct?
So we actually went with the lawyer of the family, who was very, very grateful. The family themselves put out a statement to say that they are grateful that we went because they are worried that the president is trying to brush this case under the rug. The president made very clear in the Oval Office.
That's it. They went to provide backup, right, Laura? You know, when you get too drunk to fucking walk across the room and you have to call the cops and they call for backup because you've barricaded yourself in the fucking in the broom closet and you're fucking 3 sheets to the wind, because at the end of the day, Van Hollen goes there and he comes back and then Trump just ignores it. So guess what? Democrats are going to go there over and over and over again until a move is forced to be made. And eventually there's going to be a commanding Supreme Court decision, and your little fucking Trumpy bitch is going to have to make a decision. Right? But goddamn, dude, her interviewing style, like in the beginning, to use the Joe Rogan thing, she like seized on that one thing and just filled with snark, and then stepping on her so she can't answer, and you know, continually trying to frame it as like, oh, just admit you went down there as a political stunt. Just admit you went. Why did you have to go down there? Van Hollen already went down there. Everybody knew he was okay. It's not about him, Laura. It's about the fact that it was a 9-0 Supreme Court decision. Due process is our most basic constitutional right, okay? Our most basic guarantee under the Constitution. And we have to keep up the pressure because fucking clowns like you will sweep this shit under the rug. You'll be like, Trumpy, give me some friends, yeah! I'm gonna lock myself up in the broom closet again! Dude, let's go.
He has no plans to follow the Supreme Court, and so we are not going to be the last ones to go to El Salvador and demand that the United States government take action.
That was
My
good.
constituents asked me to do this. Over the last 2 weeks, there's no issue that we have gotten more calls about, more messages about than this issue, because I represent a very diverse community, and people are concerned that if this can happen to someone without due process, tomorrow it can happen to a U.S. citizen, and that's exactly what the Supreme Court also is concerned about. So we will continue to advocate for that.
And we should say that Donald Trump was caught on tape talking about sending homegrowns to El Salvador too. So we know damn well that he wants to start sending us.
And we will continue to advocate for the rule of law.
Yeah. I know a little bit about the Supreme Court and how that works there. And, the word facilitate was, well, again, we'll see how this all works out. And I don't know how it's ultimately going to come down. But I am very interested in Democrats caring about due process for illegal aliens. What process do you think is still due an individual who 2 courts found had reasonable belief to believe he had an affiliation with MS-13, who his wife initially said had scratched her and caused a bruising on her body? What process would make you feel like the Constitution and our framers' understanding of it would be fulfilled?
So, Laura, you and I can disagree on, this individual in particular. I'm not here to really advocate for one person. That needs to happen in court. No evidence has actually ever been presented in court.
You went to El Salvador. Now you're saying it's not about him? Of course it's about him.
Due process.
You went to El Salvador for a political stunt, and now you're saying it's not about him.
It is about this case. Laura, it is about the rule of law. This is a bipartisan issue. It transcends partisan politics. That's why a conservative-leaning Supreme Court has said that Donald Trump must facilitate the return of this individual. This is very dangerous. We are turning into an authoritarian country, and there are Americans from all across the political spectrum who are deeply concerned about this. Again, my office has not received more calls about any other issue since I have been a congresswoman than this one, tariffs being the second one, and the lack of real logical economic policy, but the issue of due process.
Dude, she is such a, she just looks like such a bitch, dude. Laura Ingraham, dude, you know what I'm saying? It's like she's not even making decent points, right? She's just crying in her, you know what I'm saying? She's just literally crying in her fucking bowl of Cheerios. Dude, like a woman who just lost too much money at the bingo parlor, dude.
No, these are and when we had a town hall the other night, this is the issue.
All right,
and the economy is a mess as well, unfortunately, under this administration. So
before we go, Congresswoman, also in Maryland, I know American citizens and crimes committed against them might not be a top priority. It is for this show. An illegal alien from Guatemala was just charged with his girlfriend's murder in Maryland, same state, of course, Mr. 𝗡𝗡 is from. She was missing for 2 weeks, mother of 2 young kids. Police found her buried.
Yeah, and again, this has nothing to do with the 𝗡𝗡, but okay. All right, well, dude, a white guy just shot a whole bunch of people. A white Trump supporter just shot a bunch of people at a school. Oh, shit, hell.
In a forest. Do you know about this story? Do your constituents care about those victims? And do you intend on calling that family, since Maryland residents are obviously a concern in some way, shape, or form for you and all the people of your state?
I'm appalled by any violence that takes place in this country. As a former city official, I have a very strong pro-public safety record, and that's why I believe in the rule of law, and that's why this case is so important. I think these questions are a distraction from the main issue, which is that Donald Trump is defying the Supreme Court of the United States, and every American should be concerned about this.
Congresswoman, I know you can't mean that, and I'm not trying to play gotcha here. I know you don't
every
mean
American,
that American
every
citizens
American
are distractions.
No,
their victims aren't distractions.
You are changing the subject. Today we are here to talk about the lack of due process for an individual who was illegally deported from this country. That is the subject of this interview.
Have not,
any other act of violence.
But Congresswoman, I've given you, just so everyone understands. Yeah, well, the violence committed by illegal immigrants against innocent Americans and legal immigrants has been appalling.
It is devastating.
Absolutely appalling.
Any violence,
and I wish there was one moment where Democrats acted like they cared about that.
Dude, look at her. What a fucking bitch, bro. Dude, she is like, when you think about it, how does she fucking, like, how does she live with herself? How much does she have to drink to fucking behave like this?
Well, apparently it's all collateral damage. The Democrats who sat by with the open border. Yeah.
Right now we are worried about the constitutional crisis.
Right. Oh, the Constitution?
We are worried about the constitutional crisis and the lack of this president following the Supreme Court. I'm sure you believe in the Supreme Court and you believe in the rule of law in this country.
Were you worried when I know this is the progressive way of dealing with interviews where you just, I'm not trying to talk over you. I'm actually trying to get a question answered. I asked you a simple question. What process is due Mr. 𝗵𝗡𝗪 in the United States that you believe he has not received or could receive if he's undeported, which is the Democrats' priority, undeport him, bring him back here? What process do you want him to receive that would make you happy and feel good? Could he ever be deported?
It's very clear. The Supreme Court says return him, and in court we can have a discussion about what action should be taken.
No.
This administration admitted they made a mistake.
He doesn't matter to you.
This administration admitted that they made a mistake.
I don't think he matters to you.
Mr. Garcia.
I think
this is a fact, Laura. Unfortunately, you're not sticking to the facts of the case, which is that.
Well, I know the facts. Actually,
he made a mistake.
I've been very clear on the facts. Yeah. Well, Congresswoman, if you want to come on the show, we'd love to have you back.
I believe in the Supreme Court.
But you don't. Right. But if he's, I will just say this on the show, and you can come back. Just wait. Take a breath. If he comes back, let's say he is undeported, and the Democrats happy about that. If he's undeported, he will be deported from the United States. That will make you miserable. Correct? That'll set off a whole new firestorm, because what you care about is an illegal immigrant's rights to be here ad infinitum.
This is a union
you don't
member,
want him deported.
a person
That's
with
the
a
real
U.S.
story.
citizen, wife. Yeah. This is a person who the Supreme Court has said needs to be facilitated back to the United States. That's a fact.
We got it. We got it. You will never support the deportation of this individual.
Dude, she sounds drunk. What is up, guys? Thank you so much for watching. You like the video, you want to support independent resistance media, you know what to do. Drop that sub, hit the like button, and please share it. And we do love our members, so if you want to become a member, it's another really great way to support. Thanks again for everything, guys. I'll see you next time. Let's go.